It's the Sod Pod, brought to you by Grassland Agro. The Sod Pod. Hello, and welcome to episode 25 of the Sod Pod. This is the season finale. I'm delighted to be joined by Nikki McGrath. Nikki, how are you doing?
Hiya, James. How are you?
I'm great. Nikki is working with Grassland Agro many years, always likes staying in the background, changed role with us during the year. She now runs all our digital media sites, along many other tasks as well. So, Nikki, we're going to review the season of the Sod Pod. Have you got any standout moments?
Well, there's been many standout episodes for me, James, but I suppose one in particular I enjoyed was the episode with our own Simon Delaney. It was interesting, I suppose, to hear the agronomist and farmer perspective on what we're doing.
Yeah, it was a savage episode with the bold Simon. Way back in episode 11, the agronomist and his dairy partnership. Do you know what? We'll rip out a clip here. Let's just have a quick listen.
The listeners a slight introduction as to what a day in the life say at the minute, or what the job entails.
Yeah, Sean. So look, I suppose we're just after finishing our silage cut and weigh campaign there that we have with our soil sustainability programme. And you know, I suppose even since I've started there, the information that we can bring back to farmers in the lines of, I suppose, your silage cut and weigh, your Salvita test and the soil sampling, everything, it really is a complete package. And I think guys have responded well to that over the last couple of years. Even in my couple of years here, I can see the interaction, the understanding of soil is improving the whole time, I suppose. Look, there's plenty of the likes of myself out there as well, like that, you know, reps, my fellow colleagues as well. So we're covering every corner of the country, you could say. So no, we're just trying to, I suppose, spread a good message about soil fertility and the importance of it and trying to maintain it, you know.
And on the silage sampling there, Simon, you're just finished up. How are first cuts looking across the country?
Yeah, sure, there's bumper crops there, you know. It's really something that's becoming very important on farm, like, you know, particularly with the price of, would say, con acre and rented ground and things like that. You know, it's important to be getting as much out of your silage ground area as you are out of your milking platform. I suppose with the cut and weigh, it really is able to tell us, okay, like, have we differed much from the previous year? Is there something we done differently? How are our P&Ks looking there after soil samples? And do we need to spread an extra little bit of maybe potash or something like that at the back end of the year? You know?
And we probably do, Simon, if there are those bumper crops coming off.
Definitely, like, you know, and it's an important factor of it. Like, you know, if you have maybe 8 or 9 ton of dry matter per hectare coming off in your first cut, you might be talking 6 or 7 on a second cut, and if you were to get a few grazings or a light third cut or something like that, you're going to be up at your 15 plus, you know. So that's massive offtakes, like, and I suppose, look, it's small little kind of changes we can make by maybe going with an extra little bit of potash, as we said, or maybe targeting there with slurry and things like that, you know. That's really going to, I suppose, going down the road, make sure that we still get those kind of cuts as well, which is very important.
If you rewind the clock back a small bit to the start of the year, Simon, we obviously put a soil sample, put a fertiliser plan in place and delivered the fertiliser plan. What was this year like compared to other years in terms of farmer engagement with the soil sustainability programme, with the price of fertiliser that we've experienced this spring?
Yeah, look, it's a massive challenge on farm when you look at fertiliser obviously being one of the biggest input costs you're going to have on farm. So as you can imagine, everyone at the start of the year, there was a lot of prices being floated around, and lads were very conscious of it, and you know, they wanted to ensure that if they were getting a product onto farm, that was going to work, it was going to perform. Potentially looking, a lot of guys have maybe reduced nitrogen on farm, and to date now they're getting on quite well, even with maybe less fertiliser spread, you know. So like, it's very important there, even at the start of the year when we were going out, that we were very conscious of that when putting our fertiliser plan together and making, I suppose, the best decisions for and with the client is the big thing. Like, you know, we're only there to assist guys and talk them through it there in terms of the best applications and time and applications of fertilisers as well, you know. So
yeah, that was a lovely clip there from Simon back on episode 11. I actually really loved, there was a quote there, Nikki, spreading the good message about soil fertility. I thought it was a great little statement by Simon.
Yeah, and obviously Simon knows what he's talking about. He's been an advisor with us for over 4 years here in Grassland, and he's in partnership with his dad and his uncle on their farms in Tipperary, so definitely knows his stuff, I'm sure.
Oh, well, he's learning off two right experts there. He's Dad Richie and, of course, Uncle Eamon. The home farm been in Cashel and Eamon's farm down in Clonalty, and they've really operated an amazing system there together. Richie, the machinery king, and, of course, Eamon, the livestock guru. Not too sure what Simon's role is there yet, but I'm sure he's learning a lot of them guys. And Nikki, like when you go back, we look at this whole podcast journey, and like Grassland only entered it way back in February of this year, and it's been such a great project. It's been really exciting. But like, is there any other episodes that you kind of go, that one stands out for me, or?
Yeah, I think I also enjoyed the episode where you had a chat with Danny Birmingham. He's one of our customers, a heavy soils farmer up in lovely Doonbeg in County Clare.
Danny Birmingham, yeah, that was actually a great episode. We actually recorded that in one of the sheds above. It was fantastic. Danny, what a positive outlook on life. Some of the most challenging lands in the country. You know, we were talking about real heavy, wet soil here. And what Danny has done up there, just a lovely process of evolution. The way he's just took on each field as a project, got into drainage, set out the budgets first, got into drainage and just worked it through. And what an amazing farmer. And probably, like John said actually recently on the Choggas podcast, we don't call Danny Birmingham, we call him Danny. And everyone knows who we're talking about. Let's just rip out a quick clip actually there, because I think it's really good.
I remember my own father, he built a 4-unit herringbone in the 70s. So in 2002, we built our first big project was a 44-unit cubicle shed with a milking parlour, 10-unit dairy master milking parlour. So from there on in, we thought that was going to be the end of it.
Yeah.
But,
you thought you'd never fill it?
Never fill it, yeah. It was funny because, you know, it was like being so used to where we were, we'll say self-feeding, and, you know, there was a lot of labour, very labour intensive. You know, looking all around me, there was a lot of slat houses put up, and, you know, I can remember even where we had cattle, we used to have a transfer box and a bucket to get the slurry into the you know,
on, yeah.
It was,
Supers, yeah.
You know, it was that bad. And then we'll say from where we were, and the one thing I always said to myself, look, if we're going to be in this crack, we're going to do it right, and we'll have proper facilities, because proper facilities, especially in the land type we have, is a must, really. You know.
Where did you come from then, Danny? From 86, even cow numbers? Or sorry, 89.
89, yeah. I suppose we were milking around the 25 to 30 cows back in the late. We'll say 91, 92, we were milking about, I think we went back to 25 cows, I think, in 92. And we bought cows, that was the last time we actually bought in here, was 92. It was all AI after that then. We were using AI since the early 90s, and no stock bulls. Any replacement were bred from AI. We always, actually, to be honest about it, we were always very interested in cows, even though we'll say we were put in the deep end. I had been doing my 3-month course below on 6 Mile Bridge at the time by the man Eddie Russell. He was a great Clare hurler. But I learned a lot from him, actually, to be honest, with the type of cow, because we wouldn't have a great cow at the time, but it just opened my eyes as what cows can do, you know. And again, after that, then is, you know, it was all solids. Solids wasn't really thought about at the time. It was all volume, you know. And grass management was very poor. Like, I mean, I remember we'll say cows would go through the whole farm, and it would never be, you know, to be no surplus bales taken out, or to be just topped. And, you know, grassland management was very, very bad at the time.
Yeah, and you've obviously even since then put in a new parlour. You put up the 44 cubicles and the shed there that we're looking at, and then you put in another parlour since, Danny, as well, even to make life easier. I
suppose the thing is, you see, we never, it was all a slow progress. We were increasing bit by bit every year, and but it was all done in house. There was no bought-in animals, and no, we sell surplus animals if we had them, because we were always very interested in the breeding side of things, you know. And even with the solids, we were always looking at. I remember one of the local lads in our discussion group, Andrew Killeen, he was in the protein, that Kerry protein, whatever it was, there back in the the 90s, I think, and it was all about protein. But we were always very much interested in the things as regards where can we go with our solids, bring it up to, because the milk price eventually went to the A plus B minus C, and it actually stood to us the way we were breeding our cows, because we were always looking at the protein side of things. And as well as that, I suppose, the nature of our ground, we don't want a low volume cow with high protein and high protein, high fat. We need a cow that's going to milk off the land we have, because we're inside about 6 months of the year, so we need a cow that's going to produce inside as well as outside.
Yeah, that was a great episode, and it was lovely there to get an insight into the farm and family history.
Yeah, definitely, Nick. And in fairness, like, Danny is always great to share his knowledge, whether that's on his social media channels or discussion groups, and he's always great, man, to kind of look at the next solution and where are we going next. But what I really admire about him, he's actually a sponge for listening to other people as well, and what are you trying over there, and I'll have a look at this, and he's always very unassuming in that sense. Actually, one funny thing, when we were above recording that episode, his local advisor, the famous Tom Lillis, was above with us, floating around in the background. But just as I was about to hit record on the microphone gear, Tom was like, "Hey, Jim, where's the video camera?" I was like, "Tom, it's a podcast. We only do listening on that." "All right, I thought we'd video it as well, so I just thought that was gas, But maybe that's proven the point that maybe Tom hasn't listened to many of them either,
Maybe so.
I'd be busy, man. Do you know, though, when I look back at all of this, Nikki, as well, and an episode that I really enjoyed was actually the last episode.
What was that one now?
John Maher, boys, Davey and John went down to Moore Park, and it was an extended episode. It's an hour long. That episode could have gone on for 4 or 5 hours. Like, it was really insightful. I really loved John's knowledge, his grass expertise, his passion, and like, I always found that really good.
Yeah, well, listen, we might just cut you off there, James, and play a clip of that episode.
Okay, boss.
I suppose the principles go back to very, very basics that I learned about now almost 30 years ago, John. But anyway, I've never. But to be fair, I've never forgotten it. And the principle is very, very simple. When the animal's out grazing, the animal feeds itself and spreads its own slurry. Once the animal comes inside, then things are very, very different. The costs go up. You're feeding the animal, you're spreading the slurry.
Yeah, that's
very true. We probably took our eye off the ball for a while, John, and it is going back to basics. Like,
yeah, well, that's why John asked the question where the Grass 10 campaign came out of, right? So obviously there was quotas there in different forms and fashion for most livestock enterprises, to be honest. I suppose the truest one was obviously milk production, but then quotas left us in the year 2015. Therefore people were starting to carry more animals and up the performance on the farm. There's no point in upping the performance, using silage or ration to do that. So basically we had to grow more grass, utilise that grass, and in 2017 the Grass 10 campaign landed running. So this started forming in 15-16. We did a lot of events around the country in the spring and the autumn, and we said we better package this in a more structured format, bring training to the industry, bring training to farmers, bring training to our own advisors, and move on with this. And that's the genesis of it. Yeah.
And you might explain, John, how it started. Like, what was the competition in 2017, and how was it evolved?
Yeah, so
like the 10 is obviously the backbone of it.
Yeah. So there's many pieces to it, which we'll go through in this podcast. But we needed also a kind of a flagship, or to see what the best farmers were doing out there, and using that competition then and the winners from that competition as ambassadors for grass, or making a big contribution to what can be achieved with grazing on farm, whether it's sheep, whether it's cattle, whether it's cows. So we also have categories for clover now, which is a good thing to have given what's coming around the corner. We also have categories for heavy land, young farmers. So it just had to recognise all the pieces of the jigsaw in assessing the farms, but also to recognise those who were working in that industry, whether they're on heavy land, dry land, young, established. The new entrants have a great track record in this competition, so you have it all.
That was the great John Maher there, and he spearheads the Grassland, a great Teagasc man and a great farming man. It's worth noting again, a very proud Kilkenny man living down in Cork, but I think there's a bit of red and white showing up in his eyes lately there.
I don't know. But of course, John wasn't the only Teagasc person we've had on the show with us. We've also had David Wall, a fellow Wexford man from the parish of Gusran. And David is working in Teagasc in Johnstown Castle.
That's right, Nikki. Yeah, that's actually a lovely episode as well. Bringing up the model county there. Is there anything you'd like to add as I look at you in your purple jumper here today?
Oh, did I forget to mention, James, I'm actually a proud Wexford woman as well. Never mind all these Clare lads around here.
Up the model county, or do I say up the banner? So, that David Wall clip, have you got it?
Oh yeah, we have it here. Roll it, Roisin.
Roll it there, Roisin.
What simple steps can we take now and implement? Maybe we were implementing them already, but what sort of the key points that we should be implementing that maybe some farmers are not to, I suppose, slow that process down?
Yeah, I'd hope that we are far enough from what's manifesting itself in Holland at the moment, and we still have time to correct that. So, in response to your question, taking stock of what you're doing on the farm is going to be really key at this point. I think a lot of farmers this year, in fairness, have taken stock of what they were doing. They looked at what they did in the spring in particular in terms of fertilisers and slurries and utilising them to the best of their ability on the farm and maximising the efficiency. So, tailoring the nutrients to what the demand is at different times of the year. Also looking at soil type. Not every soil on the farm is going to be the same. Farmers will know their land better than I or any of us here in the room will. They've been farming it. They know the fields that warm up earliest in the spring and take off and grow, and the other ones that are later. That might be down to simple things like wetness, the drainage class of the field, etc. The drier south-facing fields are going to warm up. They're going to take the sun there in the spring and kick off, and those are the ones to target first. As we move on through the year, other things, there's technologies out there that they can implement. Things like, what fertiliser mix are you putting on, and are you thinking about the mix for the different fields according to soil sampling results, etc. And there is many farmers out there that may not have their soil sample results up to spec, and now is really the time, I suppose, to get stuck into that as well.
That was just a nice little clip there of Davy Wall, like he was way back. Episode 13, that was. What a brilliant episode. David Wall of Teagasc. What I would say about him, a soil health guru.
Actually, speaking of David James, himself and his fellow colleague Michael O'Donovan joined yourself and the lads on a trip to France during the year also, yeah?
Yeah.
Where you, James, were tasked with the job of chauffeuring the crew around France. An interesting one, I'd say.
Perfectly normal and fine.
No drama.
Okay, there's a bit of a story there. The simple fact is, we were bringing them out. We were meeting the CMI, our researchers in Group Ruley, and we were working on a project out there. And John, it was a big job. John doesn't like to leave Kilmaley, never mind leave the country. So John went off like a hero to book flights, right? So we were flying out on the Sunday, and he said, we'll get in nice and early into France on the Sunday. So the plane was landing at 5:30. The last train to St. Malo was at 2:30.
Oh dear.
So we now have a slight problem where we've no way of getting from Paris Charles de Gaulle to St. Malo. So after looking at numerous options, the only situation we could come up with was, James, you draw the short straw and you could rent a high-ace van and lug the boys the 6-hour journey down to St. Malo. Lauren, I don't know why Lauren thought it was a good idea. She'd sit up front with me as co-pilot.
My sympathies to Lauren.
To be honest, she was fairly poor with directions.
Poor
Not
Lauren.
great at all. A couple of wrong turns. 3 of them in the car park before we even got out of the airport. But we got going. We landed eventually, and we had a McDonald's en route. So Look, really insightful for us all to get the guys out to the CMI and see the Groupe Roulier Research Centre, which is outstanding.
After a dodgy start, absolutely. We might have a quick listen to John and Davy's take on that.
I'll play the clip.
Before we get into Mick Donovan and David Wall, there was
the journey to France.
A few mishaps.
Oh.
So Dave, listen, I suppose we'll tell a story from the start. We had to go to France, obviously. I know this is actually a proper work trip now. It's not a stag party, but we had to go to France. I booked the planes, in fairness to myself, first time ever.
Well done, John.
Yeah, with the help of yourselves as well. And then we said, James, will you organise the trains? And the trains turned into a first class TGV into a hiace van. A 9-seater with 8 of us in it. Myself and yourself, Dave, and Donagh were in the full back line now. It was cosy enough.
Fair cosy now, yeah. And as Donagh referred to yesterday, he was a sardine between two Claremen.
He actually said a sardine between two walruses, but carry on.
Yeah, it was a physical enough full back line. But I suppose the best of it all was trying to even get out of the car park or get the van in the first place was complete hardship, Dave.
Yeah, it was an experience now, alright, Jim. I think we done 3 or 4 laps of the
we did 3 laps of the car park. We're about an hour and a half getting the van as well because James got lost trying to find the hire car place. I was with you at this stage, and you were starting to get agitated.
Small bit panicked.
And I said,
there's more the hunger now taking over.
I said I'll go down there. I'll go down to the hire car check-in desk and see where James was. Went down anyways. Absolutely no sign of James. And I rang him and I said, Jim, whereabouts are you? And he's like, Jesus, Johnny, I don't know. So I said to my live location that he was 22 minutes away. And I said, whatever you do, do not come up through gate 2E or 2F or something. The lads are there.
One of about 150 gates in Charles de Gaulle.
They're like briars below. And what does James do? Straight out past the lads. How are you lads? How's it going? So yeah, we eventually got going then, sure. And there was 3 different routes we could take to Saint Malo. One was 4 hours, the other one was 4.5, and the final one was 5 hours. The situation was confused as well because we had 3 different sat navs going. So James was on in the Apple CarPlay. He had the Lauren then beside him doing another one, and then he had
dodgy co-pilot.
He had Liam down the back as well.
Liam was doing the ongoing commentary. Looking at his own sat nav.
And between the jigs and the reels, anyways, we ended up taking the 5 hour, the 5 hour journey, which was absolute hardship altogether. We got there anyways.
So it wasn't a great start for our Teagasc friends, David Wall and Mick Donovan.
It wasn't.
They were very complimentary to my driving abilities, I must say.
Yeah, myself down the full back line, we watched matches today too on the on the way over. I think Mick is still upset over that one, but no, we got there anyways. So that was the main thing.
Love it. James, if you were to go back, would you change anything about that trip to France?
One thing, Nikki, I wouldn't let John book the flights.
Poor John. Now, our listeners might believe the podcast all runs really smoothly and professionally, but in reality it's not always so glassy. Minor disagreements, late night recordings, late night edits, unusual questions, and the list goes on. We might just give these few clips a listen.
This is an introduction to the Sod Pod. It's a pod.
Bottle. Let's do it from the start there, Jim.
A route mat of 1 is just really fibrous. It looks really healthy. Do you know, it gets down really deep into the soil structure. And you have to throw me. It's really fibrous. It gets really fibrous. Shut up. Where the fuck am I now? Give me a minute.
Hello. Boys, talk to me. Who are ye? Nobody there.
There is a focus on... Sorry, we're having technical difficulties here. James is after going soft here on me. But we do have some problems with...
Start again.
We keep going.
I can edit that out. Where are you going with that point?
You fucking keep waving at me.
James is going soft. Please leave that in.
I'm still recording here.
Yeah. No, sorry. Yeah. So I get back into it. I'm a consummate professional. So I don't know what I was saying there.
Hello, right.
No, but you're right though. A fat cow milking her once a day because she can't intake.
Sorry, lads, can I excuse the debate here now?
No,
the battery's running low.
No, you can't.
And you're debating. Are we live?
Come back in here for a second, right?
Oh, okay, Sean. Do you want to actually?
We're wrapping up.
Pause. I just want to hit pause.
We're wrapping up.
I know what you mean though, yeah, but I just don't have enough on
There's not more to say, really,
just let me run here for 20 seconds, right?
Can I pause you
go
for
to bed?
4 seconds?
Hello, right?
Yeah.
Just give me 10 seconds. Don't pause it. No.
Do ya?
Hello, right?
My name is Sean McMahon and I love tigers and
Hello,
grass.
right? Just pause for a second, right? Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Sod Pod. Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Sod Pod. Hello and welcome.
James Freeman is now redundant. His role has been replaced by Sean McMahon, or as we call him, Angus McGrath.
Will you come on to will ya?
Come on, you dozy bastard, Dave.
The optimum management and use of red clover is significantly different from that of white clover.
Hello, and welcome to episode 9.
There's no rule. No one's allowed to steal my lines.
Hilarious. Loved that. James, I'd say you have great fun editing all these podcasts.
Your use of fun now is a bit loose there, but yeah, it's always been brilliant, Nicky. You witness us. I suppose every time we're recording down here in New Ross, the energy levels are always quite high. The excitement is fairly lit, and then when the podcast is over, we get Davy Corbett who'll walk straight out of the room and go, "You can lash that straight out, Jim. I say she need no edits at all." You know, it's always savage crack. It's tough work, you know, like editing these things, but. Look, I've the privilege of dealing with some really professional, educated guys. These boys know their stuff inside out, and they've great personalities to boot as well. Like, so it's always an adventure.
Yeah, and we're blessed. We do have a great team who know a lot about what they're talking.
Huge. You take like, Shawnee McMahon, who was part of our outfit, and we got him on there as a guest there recently. He obviously changed role within Grassland. He's now a regional manager over in the West, and Shawnee's been replaced now. We've 2 ladies joined the team, and Lauren Stanley and Claire Aspel, and they were back there on episode.
Up the girls.
Girl power. Really good, insightful kind of view on everything. Very knowledgeable people as well, and mature beyond their ages as well.
Yeah, 2 great additions to the team.
Even when I look back at the whole season there, like we had our own dairy hygiene manager, Connor Quinlan, on as well, you know. Connor gave a great insight into many topics, you know, from almost the dairy parlour, really, SCC, TBCs, the whole lot. Really insightful, and their knowledge, Thermodurics and chlorine-free is just brilliant as well.
Yeah, and actually we can't forget to mention Bernard Furlong, our consultant vet, who's joined us on 3 of the episodes now and gave an insight on many topics.
Yeah, Bernie got the hat trick. Our consultant vet, some man, very proud Wexford man again.
I like myself.
Too many of them around, alright, lazy.
Like it.
Niall Lafford as well. That was actually some crack down in Kingstown Farm. You know, he was running the pumpkin farm at that stage, Nicky, and of course Niall some great work there with charities and the sunflowers and everything. So that was actually one of my favourite locations, to be sitting there at the benches inside the pumpkin farm.
I was just about to say you loved it down there.
Yeah, the 2 minions. I thought they were like John and Davy, you know. Some would say maybe the 2 minions were a bit leaner in the waist.
And don't forget, we had our 6 workplace students on over 2 episodes, and they did a great job helping us out there.
Brilliant. Episode 14 and 15, they were a huge benefit to Grassland Agro, and they learned a lot. We learned a lot from them as well, and please God, in 2023 we'll have another batch through the doors as well, which would be great.
Absolutely.
So look, we're going to wrap this up now. Nikki, thanks so much for coming on with me and making this happen.
No bother, James. Thanks for having me. My first and last appearance.
Oh, we'll see.
Just before I go, I might just give this one shot because everybody else has tried their hand at it. Hello, and welcome to the Sod Pod. What do you think?
I'd say I'm safe for another season anyway. Good effort on Nikki. When I get you on next season, you can try again.
Not a chance.
A big thank you to all the team that helped make the podcast happen. Shawnee, Davey, Johnny and Nikki. And now Claire and Lauren as well. A huge thank you to Donna Barra and Liam Wolfe for giving us the freedom to create the Sod Pod for Grassland Agro. And the most important thank you goes to you, our listeners. Without listeners, we have no show. Season 2 of the Sod Pod will return on the 20th of January 2023. Bigger, bolder and better. I would like to wish you all a very happy Christmas and a prosperous, sustainable new year. Mind yourself out there. Farm smart, farm safe. Hey, thanks for listening to the Sod Pod. We hope you enjoyed it. To find out more, head over to www.grasslandagro.ie or check out our social channels: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn and YouTube. That's all for this episode. See you next time.